people. My name is Sika Antonio, and welcome to Sika Educates. If you find value from what I have been teaching and all the diverse topics that are covered on this particular platform, I would entreat you, I would plead with you to please subscribe to this channel on YouTube. There is a similar channel also on Facebook. And I would plead with you once again, if you are a Facebook person, to follow and like the content that is on there. The algorithm loves it when there's more people viewing, there's more people following, subscribing, and liking the various channels. And together we can propagate these messages to people that need to hear it so that we can together make informed decisions about life issues and hopefully become better people. So my name, as I said before, is Sika. Sika is a middle-aged Black woman that has gone through life experiences and continues to do so. And, on reflection, has a number of different topics that I choose to talk about and to educate my own people so that we understand. Today, I just wanted to talk about some of the factors that we as women need to consider, together with our partners, if you have one, in deciding what treatment options are available and which one is the most suitable for you when you're tackling the issue of infertility. This is something that is very common in our communities. It's happening to a lot of women, even more so now. With the advent of changing population, ever growing population, the advent of modernization, and, the 21st century with all its stresses and struggles and strains that it is bringing, there is also a lot of infertility that is caused by a whole host of factors, including the change in our climate, including changes to our diets and the things that we're eating. I don't want to bore you with the gory details, but today, the issue that is at hand specifically is to talk about what you should do as a person when you've been faced with infertility and you're looking at your options. What are the things that you need to think about when you're deciding which one it is that you're going to go for? And the first thing on the list for me is your age. How old are you? You see, in medical terms, the most fruitful, the most fertile years of any woman starts from about 18 to 25, maybe a bit later, but that is the prime of your life. That is when everything is at its highest, and that is the best time to be fertile, the best time to have children. I understand that because of wanting to go to school and have an occupation, have a job that, is going to feed you and clothe you and keep a roof over your head, suggesting that people are fertile in those early years of life may not be realistic for a lot of people. But then and again, everybody's circumstances are peculiar and different. And so if you're at that stage that you're able to do so, that is a time to consider it, to look at it. But for the bulk of us, 18 to 25 is when you're hustling and bustling and trying to find a career path and get yourself settled. And so suggesting that you be a mom and take on the responsibility of another human being might just be a bit too much. I understand that. And I am not by any stretch of the imagination suggesting that that is what you should do. But like I said, everybody's situation is peculiar and different. Life is not just black and white. There are always shades of gray, and everybody's situation is unique and different. But for the vast majority of us, we leave these things till later on in life before we start to think about them. Now, depending on the type of fertility problem you have, age is always of the essence. If you suffer with polycystic ovaries, for example, of which I am a sufferer, that's something I talk about very openly, then your age becomes even more significant because it is not just about the illness that you have, but your ovarian counts, the follicle counts, your ability to produce and break off viable eggs and ovaries that can then go to be fertilized to produce children, also have a time window for people that are big sufferers of PCOS. And so, depending on the severity of your strain, around that same age of 18 to your late 20s is most definitely the most prime time to consider some of these things. With the advent of modernization and technology and medicine and the advancement of medicine, there's so many options. You can even harvest your eggs for later fertilization and pregnancies at a later time. That is possible too for those of you that are pursuing careers. But at least knowing that you have a particular problem and being able to make informed decisions about them is absolutely critical. And so age is something that you need to consider. The older you are, the more complicated it is to treat your fertility condition, depending on what it is. I hear it a lot that words are thrown about, oh, you can just go for IVF. And a lot of people just throw that IVF thing around as if it is just as easy as spitting out spit from your mouth or, dumping something in the trash can. IVF is a whole big ballroom game that people need to actually understand what it is before you actually commit to or get yourself engaged with anything to do with it. It is a beast, and you need to understand the full ramifications and implications of IVF and the whole process before you put yourself through that. And so age, number one, as I said, is something to consider. The second factor I wanted to, suggest that you consider is, what is your health status like? Do you otherwise have a clean bill of health? Is whatever fertility issue you have the only problem that you have, or do you have any other chronic illnesses? Some of us have diabetes running wild in our families, hypertension, all these chronic illnesses, having strokes and high cholesterol and all of these things. Again, some of us Africans, Black people, Afro-Caribbean people suffer with sickle cell anemia. It is something that is peculiar to darker people, people of color. This is an issue that we suffer from. It is in our genetics, and there's nothing that you can do about it for those who carry the trait. And so these are all things that you need to think about. If you are a sufferer of any of these things that I'm talking about, or have a family or in a family that has any of these issues, to consider before you go down this whole craziness about fertility. You may also want to think about how your marriage is going to survive the stresses and strains of IVF treatment, because it's not easy, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's a very difficult process. And for a lot of people, it is a journey of no return. And so the mood swings and the whole transformations with all the hormonal treatments that normally go hand in hand with some of these heavy treatment options for fertility, some marriages are not able to survive, especially when the couple have not been educated and gone through the proper counseling and training processes to be tooled with the informations and skill set to go through the whole IVF process as a joint or unified unit. And if you can't do this IVF as a couple, it is very, very difficult. Can you go through the process on your lonesome? Can you do it on your own? It is a very strenuous procedure to go through. Are you prepared? Are you going to be able to stand and withstand all the procedures, the prodding and the poking that goes with some of these treatment options, such as IVF? There's a lot of hormonal load that is imposed on your body at different stages of that process. in order to give you the desired result, which is having a child? Is your body able to go through that process? And these are all conversations that you, as the individual going through the process, has to have with yourself and also have with your spouse or your partner if you're doing this as a joint couple. The other thing as well that people need to understand, that embarking on the journey of some of these fertility options, specifically IVF or even surrogacy, is not foolproof or guaranteed to succeed. What do I mean? The fact that you go for an IVF cycle does not mean that at the end of the term, you will be able to have a proper pregnancy and even be able to carry it to term. Are you ready to take this gamble with your life, your health, and your money to go through the whole cycle and see if success is yours? Are you ready? There are lots of people who don't really think about the full extent of what they're getting themselves into and think that they can only just have one cycle, and that one cycle is going to be the cycle that gives them the desired results. Whilst there are some people who have had success with cycle number one, I've also seen people that have had 5, 8, 10 cycles of IVF and still not had any results. You spend so much money, thrown money down the drain, literally, when that could have been used for other viable alternatives also. And so the question for you, the thing that I want you to think about and understand, is that it's not foolproof. There are no guarantees and you cannot control the process. You are just taking a shot and hoping that you get the desired outcomes. I also want you to know that some of these treatment options, and once again, specifically talking about surrogacy or IVF particularly, is a very, very, very time-consuming process. For the person that is going through the process, the woman who is undergoing the treatment, for the first parts of the process, the first elements of the whole procedure, you might need to be seeing a doctor every single day for weeks on end. For some people, it's 6 weeks, 8 weeks of seeing a medic, dropping off blood samples, taking samples, and being monitored on a regular or daily basis for the chunk of that time, the bulk of that 2-month time. Are you ready? Are you committed? Can you do it? Can you withstand all of that on your own as a person? It definitely helps when you have a supportive network of people around you that are going to push you, that are going to motivate and inspire you to go through the process that you yourself have decided to embark on. You have to have what it takes to be able to do it. If you've got a supportive husband, a supportive family that will stick around and go through it with you, it makes the burden a heck of a lot lighter. Are you ready? It is also very expensive, as I've said. For some people, each cycle costs anything from about $5,000 to $10,000 Canadian or US, depending on where it is and the sorts of things that are being offered to you as part of your treatment package. Are you ready? Do you have the money to invest? How badly do you want to have this child? And is it a case of wanting to have a child and just going through the feeling of a pregnancy and being some kind of a show off to everybody that, oh, I've arrived and I can do what any other woman is supposed to be able to do? Or is your wanting to be a mom all based on wanting to actually be impactful and nurturing and loving and having a true and sustained maternal instinct? Because without that maternal instinct, without the full-time commitment to wanting to impact principles, values, and stuff like that into another human being, I don't know whether you actually understand what it means to be a mom. A lot of us Africans just want to go through the whole motions for people to see that have been able to fall pregnant, have been able to carry a pregnancy to term. Look at my belly. Some people go to the extent of taking pictures and showing themselves off on social media just to make a statement for other people. But in this lifetime, other people's opinions of you should not be the prime reason why you put yourself through certain things or you do something just to please other people. To me, that is fickle mindedness. Because if you die in the process, that would be a very stupid way to die. Just because you're trying to prove a point to other people. Fertility treatment is not for everybody. Anything that involves sustained and long-term treatment of you as a person is not for everyone. Not everybody can sustain that. Not everybody, as in the human body, can keep up with the stresses and strains of what you're going to be put through as a person. And so I'll use myself as an example. I have PCOS. Those of you who know what polycystic ovarian syndrome is will know that it is caused due to hormonal imbalances inside of the body. Now, knowing that I have hormonal imbalance and I'm already struggling with keeping tabs on my own hormones, to me, it does not make any sense to choose another treatment option such as IVF, which involves the introduction of even more hormones into an already frail and hormone induced body. To me, it doesn't make any sense because polycystic ovaries is already putting me at a higher risk of developing things like diabetes, which is, by the way, rife in most African families, including mine. And so, if you know that you have these predispositions, you have to think critically about the treatment option that works for you, that is going to keep you alive to be able to be a mom, or otherwise, keep you alive to be a productive citizen to the society and to the world at large. Something that is going to keep you alive to be able to fulfill that destiny that has been written for you. The things that God wants you to do under the surface of this planet to make sure that you're able to get them all done. It's not about people pleasing. It is not about going through life and worrying about how other people see you. It is about you doing what makes you happy and what is going to keep you alive for the long haul. And so all that I'm saying is that this is a conversation that needs to be had between two people who want to do things. In the case of a couple that are trying to pursue fertility treatment, if you're doing it as a lonesome, as a single parent, you also, as a woman specifically, you also need to understand what you're getting yourself into before you embark on this journey. The other thing that I think I've touched on before, but I'm making a mention of again, is your ovulation cycle or ovarian count, as we talk about it, because some people don't have viable eggs that are in their ovaries due to the infertility issues, especially things like polycystic ovaries. And if you have something like that and your ovarian count is low or almost non-existent, it means that the child biologically is not going to be yours. You still need to go and take an egg from somewhere, fertilize it, and then implant it into you. And so biologically, you have no part in this human being that is inside of you. So again, is it about having the pregnancy that you can show off, or is it about maternal instinct? And if you've been able to decipher and decide what it is that is making you make that decision, for some people, going through the whole expense and the stresses and strains financially, psychologically, emotionally of fertility treatment might decide that adoption is probably the better way to do things. It is less complicated. Your body doesn't go through any stress or strain, and you can keep your body managed and stay alive to be a mom. The whole fertility process is extremely, extremely stressful and can cause depression for many, especially when people go through cycles and some fail. The desire to pursue and carry on going is hard. And so, for a lot of people, take to drugs. Some people fall into deep, deep, deep depression that they are never able to recover from when things like miscarriages and stillbirths occur as part of that process for some people. As I've said a million and one times, fertility treatment is not for everybody. And so you need to know yourself, research it, get the information, and know where you stand before you make an informed decision. It is not wise to throw your hands, your body, your life entirely into the hands of another human being just because that person is a medic. It is not prudent to do that. And so understand things clearly and know that it is your body that is going to be put through whatever rigorous testing and stuff that it has to go through. For some of you, your very uterus is very frail and fragile. Simple touching, simple testing, something like hysterosalpinogram is too much for your body to take. And for some of you, that is enough to tip the balance for other things. And so if hysterosalpinogram, that procedure, you're finding that extremely painful and you cannot cope with people dilating your cervix and inserting dyes just so that they can see the form of your fallopian tubes, make sure they are clear and there is no blockage. Make sure that your ovaries are looking healthy and also show the contours of your uterus. If you're finding that simple procedure painful, that is a prelude and an indication to tell you that your body is going through something, and maybe adding other issues to it might not be very, very wise for you to do. Some people have inflamed uterus or cervix or whatever. That place is just very sensitive. Are you ready? Are you ready for the long haul? I've seen people make savings and have a particular budget to go through an IVF cycle, only to start the process and find that it's going to be much, 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 much more expensive because there were hidden factors that were not considered. Midway through the cycle, they could find that your body isn't going to be able to be moving around like any normal human being carrying a pregnancy, and you may need full bed rest in a medical facility where you can be monitored on a regular basis. I know people that have spent 6-7 months in hospital being looked over every single day to make sure that the baby, the fetus, is surviving, the mother is thriving throughout that whole process. It adds unexpected costs, hidden costs to your treatment, depending on where it is that you're pursuing it. Are you ready? Can you afford it? Is it breaking your back? The stresses and strains of that alone can put a significant strain on your marriage as well, or whatever partnership you have with your spouse. Are you ready? And so these are some of the things that I have decided today that I wanted to point out to some of us so you fully understand the implications and ramifications of what you're getting yourself into. If you're married to a guy who is not emotionally and physically present, an active participant in every sense of the word to your relationship, is he ready to go through this journey with you on something that is so deep and detailed and so painful and so stressful, so that you can both have happy outcomes? Would your marriage survive the test of time through this whole fertility treatment process? Is motherhood for everybody? No. Are you a woman with maternal instincts and nurturing? Or are you one that just wants to show off? That is a big question that I want you to ask yourself and answer for yourself. Adoption is an equally viable option. for you if you have fertility issues. Consider it deeply and see whether that works for you, whether that achieves the objectives and goals that you have for yourself in wanting to be a mom. Surrogacy might be an option for some people. There is no one size fits all standard for anyone, but these are just factors that I want you to look at critically, which I hope would help you decide, make an informed decision, which you can live with and commit to wholly when you've come to that place of deciding. My name is Sika Antonio of Sika Educates on YouTube and Facebook. Please, please, if you found value and you like the things that are on this platform, share the information, love, like, and follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel so that this message can reach many. There's so many people that need to hear this, and I'm counting on you to help me spread the word. Share the love. Thank you so much for watching. Keep watching this space for more videos, more content that is going to be educative, inspirational, motivational, and it's going to help you to navigate on the surface of this planet and do the needful in your lives. God bless you. Thank you for watching. My name is Sika. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.